Hello people! So I filmed this a while ago and I didn't have time to edit it at the time because of my bachelor thesis, but now that is gone, so I'm gonna switch to past me and let her do the wrap up for August and September, and then I'm gonna upload my next video very soon, like in 2 days or something, and then that's gonna be my wrap up for October because I read a lot in October and I didn't want to squish it all in one video because that would have been a video with like 16 books or something. Go on past me, do the wrap up. So let's get to my wrap up for August. I only read 3 books in August, so this is gonna be pretty short. The first book I finished in August is Actress by Scott Westerfeld, and this finishes the Ugly's Pretty Special series. At the beginning this book really confused me because I was not able to place it in a time or space, and I was really confused up until they started talking about speaking Japanese and translating to English, because then I figured out that this is actually set in Japan. That also explains why they are suddenly talking about manga heads and calling each other senpai and stuff like that, which really confused me because I just couldn't understand why the Americans should suddenly like completely take over this kind of language from Japan. After I got over that confusion, I really enjoyed this book, even more than the other books. I also really enjoyed the characters in here. I liked them more than the rest of the characters in the series. The storyline kind of threw me off. It was kind of all over the place and I don't even know what happened there. And in the end I was like, oh, this is how the story ends. Because I hadn't expected it to end that way, and I hadn't expected it to end at that point. There were so many questions left open at the end of the book, for me at least, that I was really confused that it was supposed to be over. The next book I finished in August is Darke by Angie, which is the 6th book in the Septimus Heap series. I think I remember thinking at the end of this that this was way too complicated and that they made it way too long. It got slow at some points, but then in the end really picked up and was easy to read, which is why I finished it in August and not December or something. And the last book I finished in August is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I absolutely adored this book. Like, look how wrecked it is. Sorry, did I just bite into my book? Might have a slight problem. When I started reading this, I was really worried that I wouldn't understand all the references, because this is focused a lot on the pop culture of the 80s, but turns out it's not so much of a problem. All the references that you need to understand the puzzles and the storyline are explained, and everything else is just, you know, to make it nicer for those who actually know the pop culture of the 80s. And I can't imagine that for those who were young in the 80s, this is amazing. And for those of you who are really interested in the 80s, this is amazing as well. But also for those of you who are just nerds and like video games and nerdy stuff and these kind of personalities who are a bit quirky, like, then just read this book. It's really adorable, it's really nice, and I love it so much. Definitely one of the best books I've read this year, but probably also one of my favorites of all time. I'm definitely gonna reread this many times. So the first book I read in September is Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookshop, and I cannot remember the name of the author, and I already gave the book back. So apart from not remembering the author's name, this book was great, but it was also really confusing. It was definitely not what I expected. I was expecting some kind of mythical story. It just wasn't. It was dystopian, but not dystopian, just slightly in the future. I have no idea in what future. I don't even know what it is. It's like 4 different storylines that all lead to each other and in the end lead to the overall solution, but you don't know how you got there. I don't know how I got there. Although I have to say I really like the writing style of this because it keeps you on the edge of your seat, but it also confuses you because it doesn't go the way you think it will go. I really like it when books are not predictable, because sometimes it gets boring to read books these days because I'm too good at predicting stuff, and this book was not predictable at all. So that was the wrap up Past Me did in September, and I didn't read much in September or August because I had a lot of stuff to do, but I read a lot in October, so watch that video, it's coming soon. Bye bye!